Hello and welcome to Mtoto News Insight. Kenya has been through one of the heaviest rainy seasons recently. Already more than 200,000 people have been affected in 32 counties ravaged by the floods. Poor drainage combined with the rapid rains have left so many displaced, including children. Recovery is now the bigger challenge than coping with the floods, from health facilities being washed away and leading to a risk in the health of children, as well as failing food security leading to poor nutrition. Solutions need to be found to reduce the effects of floods on our children and make sure that their livelihoods are safe during natural disasters like floods. Achieving food security and health care for all children as stressed in the government's Big Four agenda is more likely to happen only if we have better solutions for disaster management, like better structures or increasing our capacity to resettle displaced persons or facilities.
About 48,177 households have been displaced so far, and this translates to 260,200 people that are displaced and not in their homes because of water levels in their communities. The numbers too that we can report here is 112 people have lost their lives countrywide. We have launched this appeal about 2 days ago, asking for 4.7 million Swiss francs. This is just the first appeal. We think the amount needed is much, much bigger. But even with this little amount of money, we can already reach 150,000 people out of the 260 that are already displaced.
The UNCRC provides liberty from detention for every child. However, children in Africa continue to be detained. Currently, there are no known figures of children in detention. The African Child Policy Forum and Defense for Children International organized a regional conference which brought delegates from all over the world. The cross-cutting theme during the conference was learning from the informal justice system to improve access to justice for children. The key recommendations from the call for action are: ensure that national laws on access to justice are consistent with international and regional standards on child justice and are fully implemented. The African Committee of Experts on the Rights and Welfare of Children to engage African countries on the use of guidelines on action for children in the justice system in Africa, and undertake research on access to justice in Africa while documenting good practice.
We're here to address a very important issue, the issue of child justice. Now, this is a very important issue for a number of reasons. And in a way, it is also related to evolving changes in the child rights community, in the child rights thinking. We at ACPF have been working on this issue for the last 10 years at least. Initially, our work focused on the harmonization and domestication of laws, namely the harmonization of national laws with the Convention on the Rights of the Child and with the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child. The question we were trying to address is to what extent are African national laws consistent with their obligations under the Convention on the Rights of the Child and the African Charter on the Rights and Welfare of the Child. Where are the gaps and what is it that needs to be done? As you know, there has been considerable progress over the last 25 years, I would say, in terms of the ratification of the major international and regional instruments affecting children. And really, there is very little that one can say or do when it comes to ratification or harmonization of laws or domestication of laws. What is, I think, now on the agenda within the rights community, especially within the child rights community, is the issue of implementation of those conventions, implementation of laws that are in harmony with these conventions.
Since 2005, Defense for Children International has concentrated its efforts on the area of justice for children, an area that has not been properly addressed in the international agenda. Despite some attention on this matter, the level of political will to ensure compliance with international and regional norms and standards remain too low. Ensuring the protection, respect, and promotion of the human rights of children involved in the justice system remains a huge challenge. For this reason, justice for children continues to be DCI's overarching priority at all levels.
Despite the evidence that detention is costly, ineffective, and negatively impacts children's health and development, far too many children continue to be deprived of their liberty and are exposed to increased risks of abuse, violence, acute social discrimination, and denial of their civil, political, economic, social, and cultural rights. The lack of comprehensive and disaggregated data on child detention impedes a clear vision of the scale of the issue and the conditions under which children are deprived of their liberty. To shed light on this grave issue, Defense for Children International launched a campaign calling for a global study on children deprived of liberty in March 2014. The aim of the study is to collect solely needed data and statistics from across regions on the number and situation of children in detention, as well as share good practices and formulate recommendations for effective measures to prevent human rights violations against children in detention and ultimately reduce the number of children deprived of liberty.
So now we are in a very crucial and important phase of the study, because there is a questionnaire which is going to collect the data from member states of the United Nations. All member states, including Ethiopia and all African countries, have received this questionnaire, normally through their foreign affairs, because it was sent by the Office of the High Commissioner, the UN office in Geneva, to the missions in the UN, and from them to the Ministries of Foreign Affairs. So all states are supposed, before 1st of September, to have filled this questionnaire, but there is another deadline which is much closer, the 26th of June, and the expert asked all member states to communicate the figures of children deprived of liberty in their country as a snapshot of the situation, so that we have already the data and, regarding information and children deprived of liberty. Now, this terminology has to be also very clear. That includes children in the context of administration of justice, if they are in contact or in conflict with the law, but includes also children that, for instance, are living with their parents in prison. There also include children in the context of migration, and that is also a big issue concerning Africa, but also European countries receiving African children. It includes institutions, another big subject. Institutions can be street children, for instance, that have been enclosed in institutions and they cannot go out. That is deprived of liberty in the context of institutions. And then finally, armed conflict and children in the context of national security.
That was all for today. Remember to follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Mtoto News. I am Peter Midwa. Have a good day.